Yep.
Sport
You're in sport.
Alright.
Whoa! Oh!
Alright, that's got some nice pickup.
Oh yeah! Woo!
Hello everyone, welcome back to Electrified Outdoors. Today we're in my studio, but I've got a really cool, really unique video for you today. We're gonna ride along on a demo drive with a current Tesla owner. So he owns a Tesla Model X and he's considering a tri-motor Generation 2 Rivian R1S. Now, I did agree not to show his face in this video because I want to get his brutally honest, uncensored opinion on both Rivian as a company and the vehicle. I also am not using his real name. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Yes, I wanted to. He had me drive the first gen ones, but I wanted to drive second gen because that's what I would want. You know, and I know that they made some upgrades, and you know, like with any car, they fixed the problems on from the first release. You know.
Yeah, and it's a lot simpler. Everyone meet Frank. By the way, he's taking a ride, deciding whether he's going to get this or a Cybertruck. But they made a lot of changes with the architecture. So if you're a Tesla guy, like with the Cybertruck, how they have the 48 volt system, and then they have the 10 gig network around the vehicle. Well, Rivian took out, they had 17 ECUs in the first generation vehicle, and they took 10 of those out, and they switched to a zonal architecture. Okay. So there's a lot less wiring. It's a lot simpler of a design.
That's interesting.
So it should be more reliable, and it definitely saved a lot of weight.
Yeah, for sure.
And
this good pickup for dual.
Yeah, this is the Dual Max Performance.
Performance, right?
Yeah. Now, if you want to get the maximum power out of it, if you go into here,
right,
and you tap Sport,
yeah,
that'll drop you down into the low ride height. And it still won't give you max power in the low ride height. You have to go to the lowest, and that's where you get all the horsepower and torque.
Okay.
Yeah, Rivian is, according to the engineers, it's the amount of power available is very dependent on the ride height.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess because of the axles, so that
makes sense.
How they're oriented.
Like if you're on that the sport mode and you're, at the lowest ride, does it at a certain speed automatically make you go up, or is it only that reverse? Like if it's too high and you're going too fast, it lowers down.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. If you don't have it in the automatic ride height. So there's an automatic ride height that standard gives you the best ride quality, because you have more suspension travel. In the auto ride height, if you get on the highway and go above like 55, 60, the automatic ride height will put you down in low for the best efficiency.
Okay.
And then when you slow back down and get back on surface roads, it'll raise you back up to standard for the better ride. If you don't have it in the automatic ride height, the only time it'll automatically change is if you're like in the highest.
Okay.
So like in all purpose here, now I don't even see the highest there, but you should be able to switch it into the high, not the highest, but the high ride height.
Okay.
If you go above 45 in the high ride height, it'll lower you down into standard.
Mid ride, it'll start lowering you.
Yeah, as soon as you go above 45 for like, I don't know, it's like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Or so. It'll lower you down into standard.
Okay.
And one thing that they really don't want you to do is accelerate really hard when you're in the high ride height.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a lot of guys that complain that they made a weird noise on them.
Yeah. Do you find, because I noticed on the first gen ones that I just drove, the screen wasn't very accurate as far as the car placements for the other vehicles on the road. This seems to be more accurate.
It is, and what you'll notice too, like on the first gen, it's only what's in front of you.
Right.
The visualization only shows what's in front of you. But if you look at this one, when you come to a stop, if there's a car behind you, you'll notice it's also showing what's beside you and behind you.
Right.
So there's more vision here in the second generation.
Yeah, it's still a little finicky though, because you'll see like this car was like on the middle lane, but it's actually right in the middle of the lane, not on the line. So I'm so used to driving a Tesla, and I think it's so much more advanced on the reading all the things on the road.
Tesla's definitely further ahead on that.
Like a long way ahead.
A long way ahead. They're 10 years ahead of anybody else.
Yeah.
In my
See,
opinion.
it just showed this car crash into this one.
Well, thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not like, you know, like I don't think that I use that feature like or function so much like that I'm referring to where all the other vehicles are. More so just when you're doing like lane changes on the highway and things of that nature. But it's like something that you become so used to that it's like,
yeah,
how do I get used to it not being accurate now? And I'm not like a full self-driving, like I need to have full self-driving. I don't even really like that, honestly. But the autopilot function on a Tesla is super nice, right?
Oh yeah.
And I haven't gotten to test that feature on here, and it's not available on a lot of roads, right?
No, it's geo-fenced. If you go out on 270, you'll be able to use it. I use it there all the time. One thing on this though, this will do, like, it doesn't have the software update for it yet, but it will do automatic lane changes where Gen 1, and I still think Gen 1 is okay, but when it has auto re-engagement, so when you put your blinker on, if you're in the auto steer, you have to manually change the lane. When you get centered in the lane, the new lane, it'll automatically re-enable it. The Gen 2 will do it automatically.
Okay.
So, and it's going to get new features. They call it the Rivian Autonomy Platform.
Right. I've been doing some research on it.
Yeah.
It's just in earlier stages. So,
oh, definitely, yeah.
That's like my dilemma. But I like it's more of a traditional SUV, versus the Cybertruck that I'm looking at.
Yeah, the Cybertruck's an awesome vehicle. I don't get, like, a lot of people said that, they have people flipping them off and stuff. I don't get that. I mean, it's a nice car.
I drove one for a half hour to test it out, to make sure, that I was interested. And, I mean, for that half hour, it was just everywhere. And there's not a lot of them out there yet, but everywhere you went, it was like people just trying to take pictures, waving at you. People almost crashing into me because they're trying to take pictures. I'm like, whoa, this is not my car. Don't hit me, please. I don't want to hit. I don't want any problems here. It's a much different experience. See, I think the quality of these is better. Like the interior quality, at least aesthetically, it looks better. I don't know how well it holds up over time or anything of that nature, but.
Yeah, it definitely has a more luxury feel. Tesla, I think, is more of a minimalist type.
Minimal. Yep.
And it's just a different. It's not that the quality of their interiors is worse. Like the fit and finish sometimes is hit or miss with Tesla.
Yeah. Yep.
But the materials in here, like you immediately notice that, like this here.
Yeah. And the wood is actual wood when it's wood grain.
This is just the Black Mountain. The dark ash wood is really, it's really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm looking at the Trimax. Not even so much for the power, although never mind the power, but as the other features, as well, like the roof that you can change it.
The dynamic roof.
Yeah, dynamic roof is nice. The premium sound system interests me. The interior is a little bit better. Just little accents, and things of that nature that are a little different. That means something to me. Like when I got into Cybertruck, I was like, wow, there's nothing in here. It's a screen and that's it. Like a screen and Squircle.
Yeah.
So it's very, minimalist, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's a lot less functionality, I guess you could say. Like, practical things. Which. For the first time I saw on the Cybertruck, they actually have somewhere to hang like a shirt or a coat, whereas before they didn't have, like my car, I don't have anything for that. I gotta lay it out in the trunk, just hope that it doesn't wrinkle or something, So like, there's a lot more functional things here,
Yeah, they thought more about little stuff like that.
Yeah, right. And I guess it's kind of because the base that they're geared towards, with the outdoorsy type of, folks. It's a little different. But I like it. It's more of like, I think you say like, for me driving the Model X is really fun. Like it's kind of zippy and really good handling, and acceleration, everything. Cybertruck, same thing. It's like fun, right?
Yes.
This, I don't know if it feels as fun, but it's more practical, right? It feels like, you know.
Now, are you getting the Cyber Beast?
No, just the
dual
dual,
motor?
yeah.
So this will be a little bit faster than that, I think.
No, for sure. But and like, it's cool to try that stuff out when you know, and when you want to use it here and there. But the reality is, 99% of the time you're driving, you're not using that acceleration.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so for me, it's like, I don't know that the cool factor or the wow factor is as much as I want. Is more as like just the functionality, you know. And,
That's true.
but it's fun.
But it puts a smile on your face. That's
Exactly,
for sure.
and that's what my boss told me. He's like, listen, every day I'm driving this thing, and he's had it for a couple months. He's like, every single day I'm smiling. Like, when I get in or out, it's like, you know, this is fun. I said, but do you think that that's going to wear off? Like, how long does that factor?
It never gets old.
He said, I don't think it's going to, the way I feel about it, you know. Initially, he said he was just going to do, like, use it for a few months, and if he got, you know, tired of it or it wore off, he was, you know, going to repurpose it. And now he's like, yeah, I'm definitely not getting rid of this thing. So I'm a little bit torn here. And my bigger concern here is infrastructure. You know,
yeah,
that is, you know, if you're local to a service center, that's one thing. But if you're not, you know, like I have my Tesla for like 3.5 years, and they've built up a lot of infrastructure since then as well. But even early on, I would get frustrated with like service appointments and stuff, like, you know, oh, I got to drive half hour this way, or you know, I got to wait a week or two. But you know, I'm thinking like, well, add on a 2-hour drive to go get service to add to your frustration. Like, you know, is that something that I want to deal with? And I know they do mobile service as well, but you know, that's you know, it's limited, right? So
yeah, there's only so much they can do on mobile. Now I know I heard that, I don't know, I've heard that they're opening one in PA.
I've seen like the job postings, right? And that's what tells you that they're doing that. And I've heard that, but when I asked this guy here, nice guy, but he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. I think maybe they're opening one in Pittsburgh. And he's like, is that close? I said, that's 6 hours away from me.
Yeah.
And he was like,
you said you're in Southeast?
Yeah, like the Philadelphia region.
I think that's where they're opening it.
Malvern is where I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I just don't know the timeline. Like, to me, it's like the tech companies, they're kind of fail a little bit at sales, right? Like, when you walk in there, it's not like a sales feel, right? And this guy hasn't really tried to sell me on anything, or like, you're, not to put him down at all, you're more informative, you know what I mean, throughout this few minutes that we've
I
been
appreciate
trying.
that.
and you know, not that he, like, if I asked questions, he would answer and everything, but like, you know, to me, even from a management perspective, right, why would their team not have maps available to them to say, here's where all of our service centers are now, here's where all the ones that are in progress are, and a potential date that they're going to open, you know?
Yeah, I think that's good.
That's missing, you know what I mean? Like, you should have been able to tell me right then, because I said, listen, I'm telling you where I'm at. I have a Cybertruck scheduled for pickup tomorrow. I have not sent them the money because I'm waiting to drive this. This is what I'm interested in, right? And I want to make sure before I do that. I've done my research. I know where I'm at. I have a few concerns. Maybe you can help alleviate them. One of them being service. Right then is like, to me, you should be like, all right, well, let me check on that and let me see. Or they should have that map or something, interactive map, something available. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Especially when you're this early, because that's a concern that a lot of people have, right? Like, you know,
you got to be able to get it serviced.
Right,
you know?
and that's like one of my concerns. And like, even with the Tesla, like if I've had a service issue and I need to get it towed or something, like, you know, they're very limited on the tow companies that will come do it. Now it's grown, you know, more now, but you're pretty limited. So I can imagine with these, you're even more limited because people just don't know what they're doing. You know, maybe it's easier because there's the hooks in the front. You know, that might help.
Well, Rivian does have a tow operator's guide.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah, and it tells you exactly how to do everything. The challenge is if you have a dead 12-volt battery, because obviously when it's off, you know, the motors are locked, so they have to put it on like dollies or hopefully not drag it, you know, but. The 12-volt batteries, I think, are the biggest issue with any EV that you hear about, because And it's so weird because you have this huge battery underneath, right?
Right.
That's got all this power stored in it, and a little 12-volt battery could break the whole thing.
Yep. Listen, and it's the worst feeling because it's not like, you know, your typical gas vehicle, you know, okay, if the battery's dead, usually a lot of times you can still get into your car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I've come out to a dead Tesla, I can't even get in, you know, like,
No.
So that's, you know, that's been an issue.
Well, this is kind of like, now I don't know how you do it on the X, but on the Y and the 3, they have that little cover on the front bumper that you pop.
So you can get it. Yes, once you figure that out, then you're able to get in. Yes.
Rivian has it. It's in the back where the toe, where the hitch is, or the receiver is. You have to take that cover off. It's 2 flat head screws, and you just turn it a quarter of a turn or half a turn. Right. And then there's a little pop out, just like on the Teslas.
Okay.
And you can jump it and get the frunk open, and
right. Well, that's
from
helpful.
there, you know, you can charge the 12 volt.
Yeah, that's helpful.
But Rivian is good with the documentation. So if you have, like, all the people they contract to do the tow jobs are supposed to know how to tow a Rivian.
Right.
But even if you had somebody else, you could show them what the procedure is.
Right.
And it's fairly easy.
I got a couple years ago. I was driving from Myrtle Beach back up to like Pennsylvania, and I caught a flat tire in like the middle of like country South Carolina.
Oh God!
And I'm on this little tiny shoulder on a little tiny bridge, like, you know, overpass type of deal. I got 4 kids in the back, you know what I mean, and like everybody in the car, and it's like we're stuck. And so you do it through the app. They're trying to find a, you know, tow company for you, and couldn't find one. And I was sitting there for like an hour, and they're like, "Oh, we're still working on it. We're trying to find one that's approved, you know, because they'd be approved." And they're like, "Yeah, sorry, we can't find one. There's none around. You know, you can call around and try to find one." Oh
God!
Jesus.
So what happened?
So I just calling around, and I found somebody to come out, and they had no idea what they were doing, but super helpful guys that came out, and they made it work.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those, you know, things. Just if it happens, you're kind of screwed, and you got to figure it out. You know?
Yeah, we're in the early days of EVs. In some places, you know, they just haven't had any exposure to them yet.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, that's one thing with Tesla. Like, if I have to go for service for anything, like, you know, very friendly, and like always have a loaner for me, even if it's just, you know, for a few hours, right? Like, I've never gone and asked for a loaner and not gotten one, you know. So that's nice, and I understand that may be a little different with Rivian because there's less vehicle availability.
Well, Rivian always gives you something. They may not have a loaner, service center loaner available. If they don't, they'll get you like an enterprise rental.
Okay.
But it's not always a Rivian, unfortunately.
Right.
But
yeah, and it adds to the hassle, right? Like, you know, inconvenience factor, and that's one of the things I'm kind of wrestling with a little bit. Is like, man, I could be early to the party versus for, you know, but that comes with some pain too. You know.
But Rivian's, I will tell you one thing different about them, because I had a Model Y, and the customer service with Rivian. Like Tesla, when you call them, it's like a tech company, you know, when you talk to them.
Yep.
And Rivian is like so customer oriented. So
that's nice.
It's probably overheated, but I noticed that was a big difference from Tesla, is that they were so customer focused. They want to go above and beyond to make you happy.
Right. Yeah, that's a big deal. Like the individual people that you deal with at Tesla, when you get in front of them or on the phone with them, nice, friendly, customer service oriented for the most part, but they have some limitations too. And like, for example, I ordered the Cybertruck not that long ago, actually, like, you know, a month or 2 ago, and then they send you an email like, "Oh, we got some more Foundation series available if you're interested." Okay, great. So I go through the whole thing, and now they're like, "Okay, it's ready for pickup in Cherry Hill, New Jersey," and I'm like, "Well, I'm in Pennsylvania," and I put that on there. Why can't you give me one at the Pennsylvania location? It's a lot closer.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, you can cancel this one and then, you know, get back in the queue again." And I said, "Well, I don't want to get back in the queue. Like, I don't know. maybe that's fine. Maybe it'll only be a week, but I don't know. Like, and they have no line of sight. Oh yeah, I couldn't tell you when it's going to be available. I couldn't tell you this. And I said, well, can you find out from the Westchester location in Pennsylvania, like if they're going to have them?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're a different, different region. I don't know what they're going to have. I said, well, can you connect me with somebody there? Well, here's their phone number, and you can call them. And I'm like, and I call and call and call, and it says, ask for the delivery team. You ask for the delivery team. It says, sorry, nobody's available. Leave a message. Sorry, this mailbox is full. So I tell the people, I'm like, listen, this is a problem. Where can I go open this up a little bit? I don't know the area.
Oh God, that's a good question. Where are we at now? We're on Snowford School Road.
The dealership's right there.
Yeah, the dealership's right there. You might be able to go down here. There's a lot of cameras around here, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Traffic cameras.
Well, it's not my license plate.
Well, what you could do, if you turn into here,
okay,
and you can come do a UE, come back out, and open it up on this. Well, there's not really a stretch. And how about in the back of the service center? You might be able to do it there.
Yeah, that could work.
There's a long stretch there in the back of the service center. So if you go back here, there's probably not anybody here right now.
Like back here all the way?
Right here.
Gotcha.
There's a nice long stretch here where you can get it up.
Yep. Turn around and do that.
Believe it or not, like 80%, they say up to 80% of people that are buying Rivians have never owned an EV before.
Mm.
And it's funny because my wife didn't want a Tesla. Like, I had a Tesla. She didn't want an EV until they made something like this, the SUV that was kind of traditional, more traditional looking. And then she got one.
All right,
Yep, year in sport.
All right.
Whoa! Oh!
All right, that's got some nice pickup.
Oh yeah! Woo!
And that's only a dual.
Yeah, this is a dual performance.
Well, what's the difference on the dual and a dual performance? Like, how much more horsepower are you getting?
The regular dual is 533, and the performance is 665.
Okay.
The only difference, same motors and everything, you don't have the sport mode if you just get the regular dual.
Right. I drove it. It's weak.
Yeah,
I mean, like, well, okay, they put me in a quad first, and then put me in that. Like, you should have went the opposite way, Like, you can't do that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, this is a nice ride. It's just a matter of a couple different factors, like how long I gotta wait for one. They said that they're not ready with the Tri-Max yet.
Yeah, that should come, if you want the tri-motor, that should come later this year.
It said like October, November on the website. This guy told me January, and then I said, well, I just built one on their website, and it says October, November. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
If you want the quad motor, that's going to be into 2025.
I don't even need the tri-motor, but I like all the extra features, what I mean? So
you get a lot of stuff
This is perfectly fine, you know what I mean? But I want the dynamic roof,
And that comes standard with the...
Exactly.
That's the thing with the Tri. If you're going to add a lot of options, you're better off with the Tri.
You're just going to go that way, yeah.
Because it comes standard with like the premium audio system, the dynamic roof. There's like the air compressor, I think that comes
air compressor
standard.
comes standard. The performance, like the yellow brakes, which might be on this one too. But just like little things, but if you're adding those options on, then you're like a couple grand away.
Yeah.
All right, might as well just give me the extra horsepower too, right? So,
yeah, why not?
That's kind of what my thought process was when I priced them all out. But I like it. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. We love ours.
Yeah, I just gotta figure it out. How do you like the navigation compared to like the Tesla one?
The navigation, well, I had a couple issues with the Tesla, but the navigation can sometimes take you weird routes.
I saw that.
But the nice thing about it, so like the chargers, and that's the other cool thing, so like any V3 or V4 Tesla superchargers, you can access. I was telling another guy, my wife and I took her R1S to Disney. We drove down to Disney, and we used only Tesla superchargers, and I paid for the $12.99 membership.
Okay.
And it was a breeze.
Nice.
Very reliable, no problems at all.
Huh. So you pay the $12.99 to Rivian or to Tesla?
To Tesla.
And then you pay for the charging on top of that?
Yes.
Okay.
What the $12.99 does is it gets me the Tesla price,
Okay.
the membership price.
Oh, okay. So you're not getting overcharged the whole time.
Yeah,
okay.
because if you don't have that, they charge you like a little more.
Yeah, I've seen those stories, and people are like, "This is crazy." Well, the other chargers are unreliable and expensive as well. So.
Well, EV Go is like 69 cents per kilowatt hour.
Sheesh.
I mean, they're available, but they're expensive as hell.
How many Rivian charger stations have you actually been to? Like, I don't see there's many of them.
I've been to several. So they have one in Newark, Delaware at the Christiana Mall.
Okay.
I've been to that one a few times. We drove up to Michigan. My daughter does ice skating.
Okay.
We drove up there through Ohio, and there were like 3 different Rivian Adventure Network chargers up there in Ohio. So we stopped, Breezewood, PA, we stopped there, and then 2 in Ohio. So Strongville, Ohio, and Maumee, Ohio.
Okay.
All Rivian chargers there. So on certain routes, they have a lot of them. They have another one in Georgia, and I think they're either opening or going to open one in northeastern PA.
Okay.
Rivian Adventure Network.
Interesting.
And they have 1 or 2 in New York. But the cool thing about this here is if you go on here, and so like this allows you to hide it, so it doesn't. But
right, you can pick the network and the speed you want.
Yes. Okay. So like if you want Rivian, so we can zoom out here and we can see where all the Rivian chargers are.
It doesn't give you like a list?
Yeah. No.
It just zooms, just shows you on the map.
It just zooms and shows you on the map. And then, so for example, the other cool thing about this is they have grades for the chargers.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So if I tap this one, this is, that's the Newark one. This is Breezewood, PA. I've been to that one. So the one up here, I think it was near Scranton. That one, oh wait, maybe. Music, PA, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And then there's one over here. Newburgh, New York. So they're opening some more. And you see this little grade over here. So if you click details, and that works for like Tesla chargers and Electrify America, and it tells you, it actually tracks the sessions that other Rivians are doing and sees how much speed they get.
Okay, so it's grading it based off of the charging speed itself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else that it grades it off of?
Whether or not, I guess, well, here it is. It's based on data from Rivian vehicles. So they look for things like success rate and the time it takes to start charging, and that helps them calculate the overall score.
What's been like the timing wise for you? Like when you go, like how long does it take you to charge? If you're going
from 10 to 80%, now I have the large pack.
Okay.
That would be similar to the max pack here. You're looking at about 35 to 40 minutes to go from 10 to 80%.
Not bad at all.
No. And a lot of times, like, the only thing we do is every time we stop, we make sure we're doing something, using the restroom, eating.
Right.
And we make sure that we're charging when we're stopping.
Yep.
And when we do that, it's a breeze.
Right, because you got to stop anyway.
Yeah. You're going to stop. Especially
when I did a South Carolina trip, I had to stop a lot, and obviously, we did the same thing. It was like, all right, find one that's near a restaurant or something like that. And, that's helpful. But you still, if you're not going for a meal and you're just going to the bathroom, you have a little inconvenience. But, if you could if you got work to do, or like I pull out my computer all the time if I got to charge. But I have a charger at my office, so it's like, I don't really use, the charging networks much, that's great, right? Like, I can just get to work and charge and I'm good, I don't have a home charger, but I may do that at some point. I think that's helpful too. But yeah, no, this is awesome, man. I appreciate, you're very informative. And,
I appreciate that. I enjoy interacting with people. That's the thing, like, Tesla has their community. They have a great community of owners. Rivian has an awesome community of owners.
Right.
And it's been one of the things about owning a Rivian is just like all the other owners, like they do like little events or they'll have get-togethers. Rivian Clubs of America.
Right.
I have a link on my website for that. Those guys are great.
Yeah, well, man, I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Yeah, no worries.
Very informative.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad I got to open it up in the back there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's my first time in the passenger seat with
it's a different experience in the passenger seat. Oh shit! I'm not in control anymore. Wait a minute.